Hi, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Nettie Estes, and I want to welcome all of you to another Tilt Hangout. Yay, it's Monday night. These Hangouts we started way back in about 8 months ago, and our whole thought process behind it was to bring you guys as much value as we could every single week so that we can encourage you to do everything you need to do in your business to make it more successful. And so that's what we hope to do, is bring you value. And tonight's not going to be anything different from that. We are here to do that for you. So
And I want to welcome all of
oh,
you.
just a minute, just a minute. I got to set down. Oh, boy.
These Hangouts.
There we go. Okay. You're never perfect, I'm telling you. If you guys out there, take note of this. If you wait to be perfect to do something, you'll never get it done, okay? Just dive right in there and do it. So, but anyways, back to where I was. Please introduce yourself if you're new to the Hangout tonight. We'd love to say hi to you, and write any comments that you want to below. And if there is something that you would really like us to talk about some weeks, on the upcoming weeks, please let us know in the comments, because, yeah, we can do that for you. So we love to do these Hangouts for all of you, the doer, the dreamer, the entrepreneur. And I said that backwards. It's the dreamer, the doer, the entrepreneur. There you go. So, anyways, let's get on with it before I put my foot in my mouth any more than I can tonight. Tonight's topic, pretty exciting topic. It really is. I'm excited to sort of sit back and listen tonight. It's called How Positive Thinking Boosts Your Health, and how that, in turn, boosts your business. So I'm not going to talk very long tonight, because we are going to have the queen of woo-woo come out. That would be Zen. And really get into our brains tonight about how positive thinking, health, and business go hand in hand. And if I were you guys, I'd take some notes, because she's really going to dive into a few things that are just going to be amazing. I mean, for me, I'm not a woo-woo person. I'm that person that I worked at corporate hating every single minute of it. That's had lots of negative thoughts. And how did I compensate those thoughts? With the biggest, the juiciest, the drippiest hamburger you could ever imagine, along with a plate of French fries. And then, of course, 1 hour later, you feel like a big dump, like you're sitting there and you're the most unproductive person in the world. I hadn't yet connected the positive thinking to good health to success in my working world. So before I introduce her, I just want to take a brief minute and talk about positive thoughts. She's going to dive more into the health and the business and that aspect. But as far as I'm concerned, positive thoughts are just so super important too. And they can be, positive thinking can actually be like a zoo. And I have a friend back in Canada who is a professional speaker. And he's the kind of person who, he's articulate, he's so powerful, he's so bright and just naturally captivating that he could be yelling at people in traffic and you would go, wow, he has really got it going on. You know, he's that type of person that you just resonate with. So imagine when I was really surprised when he, after one of his talks, he plunked himself down beside to me and he said, so how bored is it? What? And you know, I thought about this and I thought, I've also got some really gorgeous friends who think that they're hideous looking. I've got friends in business who 1 minute they think they're God's gifts to mankind, and the next they need to be talked off the ledge of feeling that they aren't good enough. And I've also got another friend who's an entrepreneur who's trying to be in the middle of, is she going to be a financial powerhouse, or is she about to cause her family to start living under a bridge? So you see what I mean? Positive thinking, it can turn into a zoo for you. And we spend our lives, oh yes we do, drifting between glimpses of our own amazing glory that we can see and the fear that we're totally incapable, we're unworthy, we're lazy, we're horrible, but it's just a matter of time until we quit. We torture ourselves all the time, nonstop. And for what purpose? If we could get a glimpse of the glory, and I know you guys can do this, I know you can, why do we waste our precious time giving any energy to any other options when we can see the glory of us? Wouldn't life be so much more fun and productive and sexy if we fully embraced our delightful selves? Yeah. It's just as easy to believe we're so darn awesome as it is to believe we're giant sucking things. It takes the same amount of energy, the same amount of focus. So why do we choose drama? Have you ever noticed how when someone you admire goes out and does something really phenomenal, and you're happy for him or her, but you're not surprised? You go, of course they did something phenomenal. They're a phenomenal person. But to get yourself just to see how amazing you are is like pushing a giant marshmallow up a hill. You know what is really sad and devastating? This is really sad and devastating. We invest everything we've got into believing that we're not good enough. We run around taking one step forward and 14 steps back when it's so unnecessary, instead of trying to see yourself through the eyes of someone who really admires you. They get it. They believe in you heaps and bounds. They aren't connected to your insecurities and negative beliefs about yourself. All they see is your true glory and your potential. Please, I beg of you, become one of your own die-hard fans. Look at yourself from the outside, where all your self-doubts can crawl all over you, and behold what shines through. You get to choose how you perceive your reality. So why, when it comes to perceiving yourself, would you choose to see anything other than a super-duper rock star? You're a badass. You were one when you came screaming onto this planet, and you are one now. The universe wouldn't have bothered with you otherwise. You can't screw up so majorly that your badassery disappears. It's who you are. It's who you always will be. And it's just not up for negotiation. You're loved. You are so loved, ferociously and unconditionally. The universe is totally like freaking out about how awesome you are. It's got you all wrapped up in this warm gorilla hug of adoration. And it wants to give you everything you desire. It wants you to be happy. Boy, I wish you guys could realize that. It wants you to see what it sees in you. You're perfect. To think any less than that is as pointless as, I don't know, a river, thinking that it's got too many curves, or that it moves too slow, or that its rapids are too rapid. You're on a journey with no defined beginning, middle, or end. There are no wrong twists and turns. There is just being. And your job is to be as you can be. This is why you're here. To shy away from who you truly are would leave the world you-less. You-less, you know. You're the only you there ever will be. I repeat that. You are the only you that there ever will be. Do not deny the world its one and only chance to bask in your brilliance. Just don't do that. We're all perfect in our own magnificent, fucked up ways. And yes, I just said that. Laugh at yourself, and love others, but rejoice in your positive thinking. Please, please rejoice in that. And I guess at that point, I'm done. I'm done talking about positive thinking. Um, I hope I've set the stage a little bit for Zen on the positiveness. And right now, I really quickly want to turn it over to her because I know she's coming on with a real power storm for us. So take it away, Zen, please.
Can you hear me?
Can hear you just fine.
Okay, perfect. Well, that's a great intro, and I want to tell you that before I delve into all of this, business, health, and good mood and attitude, that I've got some bad news for you, but I've got some great news for you. And so I want you to really pay attention and take some notes towards, I'll give you a heads up, but I want you to take notes because I also printed a PDF because this stuff is so important. And if you don't know it, I want you to get it tonight. And I'm going to start with, because it's a cyclical thing, so everything is connected to everything else. And so how you do anything is how you do everything. I know we've all heard this, and sometimes you've seen like a phenomenally successful person financially, and yet their personal life is in a bit of a shambles, and their body is a little bit out of whack, or maybe has some extra weight on it. Now, I'm not here to knock anybody about having extra weight on, because I'm also going to tell you a quick personal story before we delve into this too. But how you do everything is how you do anything. And so I want you to be more mindful about how you do everything, including picking your foods. And I'm going to give you a quick tip about one thing that I do with any food that I put into my mouth, because I'm a big Abraham Hicks follower. I think y'all know that by now. And getting into the vortex, and that means feeling good about whatever it is you're going to do. So if you're going to sit down and eat a big, fat, juicy burger and fries, either do it while feeling good about doing it or don't do it. Go pick the salad, because if you're going to beat yourself up about having that burger and fries, you're not going to enjoy it. Your body's going to metabolize it differently, and I'll tell you why later. But if you are going to have a burger with fries, do me this favor. Go get grass-fed beef. Make yourself a big, fat-ass burger out of that, okay? And then take a potato, leave the peel on, and if you got a deep fried, okay, but you could dip it in olive oil, put some salt and pepper on it, and bake it at 350, and I guarantee you after 15 minutes it will taste better than deep-fried fries, okay? I've learned these things across the way. And I'm going to tell you why I learned them right now, because here's my personal story. And I haven't told this in a very long time, because through my 20s, actually since I turned 14, I suddenly grew a couple of inches. And I was dieting. But bottom line is, within 3 months, I went from very chubby kid to model-like figure. And it was a really disconcerting self-image time, because I had grown accustomed to this being this pudgy, chubby girl. Like, I no longer have a connection for it now because I can't even remember feeling that way so much. But I remember clearly that transitional time. And during my 20s and 30s, if anyone, you know, whether it was out on a date or new girlfriend, whatever it was, I was a hairstylist for years, so you get into conversations with people and they would say, tell me something about you that nobody knows. And I would say, I was a fat kid. And they'd go, yeah, no, I don't buy it. And you don't buy it? What do you mean you don't buy it? Well, look at you. You're almost like a model. I'm like, what's that got to do with anything? Because they don't understand that during that span of time of being kind of a chubby fat kid, let's just say it, I was fat, it's troubling. It's hard. It's hardcore. It doesn't feel good. It feels awful. And it didn't feel like I had any control over it. But then one thing happened. I was in middle school, and I always was surrounded by good buddies, thank God, because seriously, they never said a word about my weight, nothing. They just, that was Lily, she was fun, we were having a good time with her, no big. Then I started looking at magazines, and I wanted those clothes. I wanted to look like that in those clothes, and I just wanted to be like that. And then one day, one of my friends said it, and it felt harsh, but I knew why she said it, because I just pointed out a cool outfit, and I said, I want this, I want to fit into this. And she said, you have such a pretty face, why are you fat? And she said it just like that, and the word just clobbered me. I mean, it got me, and I just went, fuck. And I went home from her house, and I just looked at my mother, and I said, you know what? I'm tired of being fat. You have to help me. What am I going to do? And at first, she was a little stumped. You know, I mean, I was the only kid, you know, that really was stumbling with weight. You know, she She didn't have any experience in this. So she started giving me chores around the house that would cause me to move more. You know, go rake the leaves, go do this, you know. And I went, okay, yeah, that sounds good. That sounds like I'm moving, okay. And I would do that. And then quit all the obvious sugar. Okay, that was helpful to a degree, but I wasn't really seriously losing weight. And back in the day, you know, it was, my mother said to me finally, I'm going to take you to Weight Watchers. And my first thought that went through my head, and I actually wrote this today because I was going to make a blog post out of it, was, oh, shit, I've got to sit around with a bunch of old fat people, like, weighing ourselves and what, talking about food? Oh, God, kill me now. And then a young fat person sitting around doing that same thing, and I went, okay, let's go. And I went, and now here's the deal. Like, I don't suggest calorie counting, generally speaking, but if it's all you know and it's all you can do for now, do it. It works, okay? So I'm going to tell you the long story in a short way. It was about April of that school year that I really embarked on the Weight Watcher thing. And I was counting the points and all this stuff. I mean, I was actually having fun with it. And my mother was coming up with these ridiculous recipes that I had very picky taste back in those days, and I didn't like a lot of things. And so we played with all this stuff, and I lost about 10 pounds before the end of the school year, which was 2.5 months away, which is about 2 pounds a week, which is great. So all my buddies were like, wow, you're losing weight. And an odd thing happened. During that 2.5 months, because I was 12, I think, I also gained almost an inch. So not only did I lose 10 pounds, but I gained almost an inch, so it looked more like 15. So then the summer came. I'm off all summer. All my friends were busy going to camps. I decided to lay low, diet, workout. Well, I did that, and I returned back to school in 8th grade, 5'8.5", and 122 or 3 pounds. Suddenly, I was wearing those clothes that I saw in the magazine, and yeah, I had that little self-esteem shift, because every time I walked by the mirror, I still saw Pudgy Girl. You know, I was like, wow, who's that? I mean, my cheeks were actually sunk in, and I went, wow, this is wild. What the heck happened here? But it really got me thinking about food. If we could just count calories, and I actually added in points to have chocolate cake and blah, 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 and what they call cheat days. And now, you know, I've progressed to this point over decades where, you know, okay, I was a hairstylist, I'm a hypnotherapist, I also have a nutrition certification, and I'm not going to bore you with big details about metabolism tonight. I'm going to give you the straight scoop on what to eat, and it's going to tie into your health, your mood, your attitude, and how that translates into business. It's going to be beautiful. But back in those days, it was just really strange, because suddenly the attention shifted to, you know, how good you look. And that was cool. It was nice. It was nice to be celebrated that way, and I celebrated myself that way. But I actually felt really good inside that I had what it took to count the calories. I had what it took to actually stay on task. And you know what it was? It's the visual. I mean, I actually cut out a bathing suit. I still do it to this day. I cut out a bathing suit, and I put it right by the fridge door, right by the handle. I put it there with Scotch tape. So before you open that door, I'm looking at that girl, and I'm going, okay, now whatever it is I'm about to go in here and dig for, it better be carrot sticks or something on that list of things that I want to eat that are still going to stay within my calorie count, because otherwise I should walk away from this door right now. And I really gave that some thought. So it's about staying cognitive about your own behavior. And this is the funny thing, because when you're sitting behind a desk, there's so many times when you can just reach over and grab, you know, a chocolate bar, or you could reach over and grab this. And as I do in my house, and my daughter kind of, she's loving it now because she's trying to lose a little bit of weight. But I don't keep it in the house. If it's not good for you and I don't want it eaten, I don't keep it around for company. My mother used to do that, and that's where I got into trouble as a kid. Oh, what if somebody stops by for coffee and? Well, then run out to the store and go grab your and then. But no, she kept it in the house. So I was always having no coffee, but I'm having the and, you know. So I don't keep it around. If I'm going to have company and I think I need to make a dessert, in fact, they get a power-packed, healthy dessert nowadays, and they love it. So one of the things that I want to tell you, and here's where I'll segue out of that story, but I just want you to understand and maybe appreciate the fact that finally, 2 decades later, I'm willing to still tell the story about that I was a fat kid. I was. I have no connection with it anymore, but the weird thing that occurred when people used to go, you weren't fat, you know, that it was weird. I was like, how could you not believe me? I want you to understand how painful that actually is and how people grow when they come out of that, when they get their eye on the outcome and they have stayed on task. It's the same in business. When you keep your eye on the outcome and you stay on task and you do that little bit every day, you do that kind of business calorie counting, whether it's getting through your 5 things on your to-do list or whatever it is, it feels good. And that's a mood elevator in and of itself. But now I'm going to segue into all these things, okay? And I'm going to give you the dirty lowdown. And this is the bad news, okay? If you're out there and you're suffering from low self-esteem, it's got great news on the back end. So let me just finish the list, okay? If you've got low self-esteem, if you suffer from insomnia, phobias, huge one, panic attacks, eating disorders, obviously, anxiety, anger for no apparent reason, cravings for carbs and sweets. Pretty much what's happening is that you're deficient in serotonin. Okay, your serotonin levels are not where they should be. Okay, and one of the things that, and I read this article and I was just dumbfounded by it. And of course, I live in sunny Southern California, so it's a little bit different for us over here. But you have to figure out a way to get in your vitamin D. Vitamin D is not BS. Vitamin D, 1/2 hour of vitamin D on your skin daily, and you can look up the index. It has to be out of 50 on the index. You can look it up, Google that, 50 index for sun. I'm sure on the East Coast it's not going to happen until springtime, and Southern California it starts happening next week. There's between the hours of 11:30 and 1, you can get 50 index. But if you get 1/2 hour of walking out in the sun, that is 20,000 units of vitamin D. 20,000. Now, most people take vitamin D and they take 1,000, 2,000, maybe 5,000, and this is considered a lot. No, 20,000 from a 1/2 hour of natural sunlight. That's huge, and it should be supplemented by a little bit of vitamin D3. You should do that. That's a complex version of the vitamin D that you need to keep your serotonin levels high. Now, that alone won't do it, but that is an awesome start. And now I will launch into the things that will lower your serotonin. Is one of them is large amounts of caffeine. So if you're doing large amounts of caffeine, I want you to stop it. But I have a highlight for you. Go ahead and have your coffee, but then I want you to segue into green tea, because green tea actually gives you an amino acid, yes, clap, an amino acid called L-theanine. And it's an amino acid that increases serotonin, okay? Serotonin is your feel-good neurotransmitter, okay? I'm not going to go deep into neurotransmitters and what they're about, because that's a whole depth of subject. I can talk about serotonin versus dopamine all day long, but dopamine and serotonin are your mood elevators, okay? And foods definitely, what you're intaking into your mouth definitely directly affects your mood, your attitude, because it translates into serotonin levels going up. When you have higher natural serotonin levels going up, you can take on anything, because your mood and attitude are elevated already, because you've got the neurotransmitters kicking, okay? So the things that you need, so large amounts of caffeine that are just big doses from coffee, please stop that and segue into green tea. It's good for you, okay? Now, the other things that you need are sunlight. I talked about that, the vitamin D. You also need good doses of protein, okay? Now, I'm not here to tell you how to lose weight, but if you're, because 35 pounds and over, I even have to get a sign-off for hypnotherapy to work with it, because there could be an emotional issue or a medical issue going on. All those things ruled out, your body needs to go into a state called ketosis to kick off your, or to jumpstart, I like to say, your weight loss, okay? Now, this translates into almost like keeping your blood sugar level. 6 small meals, mostly protein-based, will take you into ketosis, okay, if you stay away from sugar. And it will jumpstart your body into a nice weight loss where you have 0 cravings, I guarantee you, for anything other than what you're doing. 4 to 6 ounces of protein every 3 to 4 hours. I guarantee you, you won't be craving anything. You will feel nice and full. And if you can sustain that for 2 to 3 days, you have a great jump start to losing a little bit of weight. Now, the one thing about serotonin that here's the bad. Okay, you can take sugar and it will jumpstart your serotonin. Okay, but it peaks out because sugar does that. It peaks out and then you're left craving for something else. And it's really hard to sustain high ups, low lows, and bring your serotonin up to a nice even level. Okay, so that's a whole separate issue, and I'll cover sugar at a later time. But we're going to get into exercise now. Yes, these bodies were designed to move, and whether you do yoga and do pigeon, or you go and do weights, or you get on a bicycle, or whatever it is, these bodies were created to move. They're designed to move, and in fact, they're designed to move for the rest of your life. So even if you're in your 70s and you're listening, now maybe you don't move the same way you did at 20, but you are designed to keep moving. And often when people have pain and they come in to see me for pain, dial down routines for pain, for also movements to do. Because the truth is that your body often gets stiff as you age because you are not moving your body. So sunlight, protein, exercise, great mood elevators in and of themselves, okay? Now, I just want to speak briefly, just in case there's anybody listening who is on an SSRI, which is a selective serotonin deficiency, receptor if you're on an SSRI, you know what that stands for. Anyway, if you're on that, for depression or panic stuff, I'm not going to tell you to get off meds, but I am going to tell you to write down the things that I'm going to tell you about foods. Because if you can up your intake on this, I would almost guarantee you that you can lower your dosage on that under your doctor's orders, of course, because I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical doctor. But I have seen people improve to the point where they could reduce their meds following these suggestions, okay? Because everything is... It actually is connected to everything else. We just like to disconnect it because it's easier. But Nettie said it early on. She ate a big, fat, juicy burger and fries and then would come back and feel that slug move in. Well, the thing is that we want to be eating foods and ingesting them in a way that is nourishing to the body and gives you just enough fuel to take you where you want to go. It's not about, let's stuff myself because I'm never going to see food again for 6 hours. And with a little preparation, if you really are in the mood for losing a few pounds, I don't care if it's 2 pounds, 20 pounds, whatever it is, if you are really ready to do that, a tiny little bit of preparation every night will help you. And I'll help you with that towards the end. Now, you would do exactly that in business, right? I never leave, and I don't work 8 hours straight at my desk. But when I leave my desk, before I do, I always write a list of things to do the next morning. Because I'm not a big, let me think up a list of things to do early in the morning. I'd rather look at a list that's already done and go, oh, okay, let me get 1, 2, and 3 done. And then by the time 3's done, I can think of other things to do. But it's all listed there already. That's my prep for the next day, business-wise. So I know what I'll be dealing with. Well, you want to be approaching your food intake the same way. Pre-planning a little bit. Instead of winging it until you're famished and you pull over anywhere to get anything to put in your precious body. You have to really be thinking a little bit to do this. Now, one of the things that is always advisable is to just keep a small cooler in the car. And you can keep a couple pieces of fruit, some nuts in there, and right there, you've mitigated pulling over to eat anything because you're ravenous, okay? So right now, I wanted to talk to you about a few different things, and I'm going to be glancing at my notes because it's so big, and it encompasses everything, but yet it's so simple. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you that next to vitamin D, vitamin B and its complexes. Now, you can take a supplement. I do, because often, and I'll just admit it, during the course of a day, I can't get in enough calories or enough foods to cover everything I want to cover to keep me at the levels that I want to be at. And so when I know that I'm going to have a day when I'm out and about and I might not be able to ingest enough calories and find good enough foods, I take a B complex. So I don't do it every day, but I do take it when I know I'm going to be out and about and I won't be able to, snag the things that I want to get into my foods. But now my mind is trained to find things on a menu that I want. And I've been a waitress in my life. I know that things that are on a menu can be eliminated or added to. If you want kale thrown in your spinach salad, you can have kale thrown in your spinach salad. It's just that you forget to ask or you don't think, like, let me alter the menu. But I'm going to tell you that vitamin D makes the neurotransmitters that boost serotonin, and it also gives a calming effect. So isn't that interesting? Meanwhile, you're getting this boosted effect, this good mood, this elevated attitude, this healthy feeling, this feel-good kind of feeling. It's relaxing your mind, okay, so that you're also at the same time calm, which is nice to have. Most people, and I'm just going to segue real quick before I tell you some of those foods. Most people, and I had this happen twice, so I'm going to give it to you. They come in to see me to reduce stress, and one of the things that happens is that they have a relatively reasonable handle on their job, okay? But they're so used to cramming for exams during college and everything that they've drilled it into their head that unless they're stressed, they're not actually doing anything. They're not producing well. And it's so not true. So I want you to segue into having some of these vitamin D foods or incorporating them into your diet because they will help you have that calm effect, meanwhile boosting that serotonin. Okay, so here they are, and I have a few caveats on some of them, okay? All right, cereals, whole grains, and potatoes. Okay, cereals and whole grains. I'm just going to touch on this quickly. It states our products are not marked GMO. Although a friend just informed me yesterday that they are coming out with an app where you can scan the produce or anything in a grocery store and it will tell you if it's GMO. Okay, this is brilliant, and I'll let you know what that is when it comes out. But in the meantime, cereals and grains, most of the whole grains grown in this country, quinoa included, are just not up to the snuff. They're not as good. They're GMO, so they're not as good as European countries. So if you can get it imported, buy it. Otherwise, minimize your cereal, wheats, and grains. Okay. Potatoes are a high starch thing. If you are dieting, keep the potato intake low. If you're going to eat a potato, bake it whole with the skin on. Like I said before, you can make your French fries this way, or you can make your baked potatoes this way. Coat the whole potato with olive oil, put salt and pepper on it, put it in an oven at 350. I would recommend cutting it into pieces so that it comes out kind of French fry style. It tastes delicious. Trust me on this. And just minimize your potato intake if you're going to do this, okay? The other things are pork, chicken, and lean meats. Now, I'm going to recommend grass-fed beef just because there's no hormones in it. They've been grazing out with regular grass. You know, you got a happy cow here. And so if you're going to eat meats, keep it grass-fed, keep it real, okay? And liver. Now, I was never big on liver. I still dislike it to this day, but I eat something called Beef Boost, where they put liver in ground beef that's grass-fed. They do it for me at my local farmer's market because I need the extra iron boost. I have thalassemia, which is a European version of amnesia. It's not anemia. And so I need extra boosts of iron. Now, this is where food gets into different things for different people. I need to eat more beef. That doesn't mean that most people, and if you're a vegan out there, don't listen to this, because veganism can maybe serve you. I'm not a vegan, I'm not an anything type of eater, I don't label it. But I do eat for my body type, and mine requires the extra boost of iron, which is why, you know what, get your blood work done, see what you need, and then adjust all of this accordingly. Because you may need when we get to the next thing, you may need more of that kind of protein. Okay, kidney beans, pinto beans, black beans. Awesome for you, awesome for you. Now, what you can't do is mix them with a lot of white rice and stuff them in a burrito, okay? If you want to have a burrito, that's fine. Mix it with brown rice and have the black beans or the kidney beans. Awesome, and that's a great protein for you. Peanuts. In fact, nuts of all kinds are great for you, but they are high in fat. Now, fat in and of itself is not bad for you. In fact, I eat a high-fat diet, and I'll get into that a little bit later, because that's a little bit esoteric on this sort of topic. Mushrooms are excellent for some reason in vitamin B. Bananas, grapefruit, watermelon, very high in vitamin B. Now, are a lot of other fruits high in it? Yes, but not as high as those, okay? Shellfish. Some people don't like shellfish. They consider them bottom eaters. I say if a bottom eater can taste as good as shrimp and crab legs to me, then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to eat it. I'm not going to worry about what they eat. Dairy products, including eggs. Now, there's a lot of controversy about that in this country, and to that, I go to a natural place like a Sprouts, and I get unpasteurized, I get raw dairy product. Because, in my opinion, the reason why most people are lactose intolerant or have problems with dairy is because of our pasteurization process in this country. And again, that's getting into U.S. processes. If you like your dairy products, eat them in small doses and try to get them raw. You can get it at farmers markets. You can find a Whole Foods or some kind of similar health food store and locate that. Okay, so that's your vitamin B, and that's an excellent one for boosting serotonin. So even if you just take a supplement because maybe you don't like beans, maybe you don't like grains, maybe bananas, grapefruit, and watermelon are your least favorite fruits, if that's the case, then find yourself a good B complex vitamin at your local health food store and take that, okay? The next one is essential fatty acids, and this one's huge because it's got alpha-linoleic acid in it, and I'm not going to get into what that means to you, but it's essential. It's important to your body. And so flaxseed oil, soybeans, soybean oil, walnuts, kale, and spinach, and all salad greens are huge in this, okay? And those are your good carbs. I call bad carbs good carbs. We'll get into that in a moment also. But these are your good carbs, and I want you to have them because we need those good carbs, okay? And then salmon and any fatty fish, okay? And there's a few of those, anchovies and all that. But salmon is the predominant fatty fish, and it's excellent for you. It's got omega-3s, and you need that. That's excellent for your skin, all of that. And so these also help elevate your mood because they also help kick in the serotonin, okay? So if you are combining, if you're finding things on this list that you say, wow, yeah, I really like this, I like nuts, I like that, try to start to figure out how you're going to plan your day by eating some of the things that I listed on this list. Now, you might have heard flaxseed and flaxseed oil and went, ugh, what's that? Yuck. Okay, well, flaxseed, I take mine and I ground them in a coffee grinder, and I just take a teaspoon of them and I put them right on the salad. You cannot even taste it that way. And I mix it in with yogurt that way too. Mix it in with smoothies that way. You don't even taste it, so therefore there's no yuck factor. And then flaxseed oil, I pour it right on a salad along with olive oil. So I'll put in 1 tablespoon of olive oil, I'll put in 1 tablespoon of flaxseed oil. Flaxseed oil does need to be refrigerated. It just goes rancid at a rep and pace at room temperature, so you need to keep it fridged. Okay, then the next thing, I already mentioned it because I love this one because there's been studies about green tea, about losing weight, and that it is a factor in losing weight. But its main thing is because, not because of, but it increases serotonin, which I'll just say one more time, is that feel-good natural drug. Okay, if we had enough serotonin going on in our bodies, people wouldn't need to do the legal drugs of smoking and drinking, okay, mostly drinking. Oh, and that's the bad news. Alcohol is liquid carbs, okay? And it falls into the white carb category. And I'll get into that a little later because I didn't want to drop that bomb too soon, okay? Magnesium is another one that is huge, and it relaxes your muscles, relaxes your nerves. Again, a calming effect, okay? But it boosts energy. So isn't that an interesting combo? Because at the same time that you can relax your muscles and your nerves, your nervous system, you're also boosting your energy. So you have that nice calm thing going on within yourself where you feel good. Your mind and everything is at peace, but yet you can output energy and get more done, exerting that less stressful kind of energy that just burns you out. That's where people go into overwhelm mode. That's where people stop taking action, okay? And those things, again, it's the nuts, almonds, cashews, avocado. Now, all three of those, all nuts and avocados included, are high in fat. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, I don't eat that because it's high in fat. No, what you need to do is be very careful about your portioning of it, okay? So a half an avocado is perfect. A handful of cashews is perfect. Now, I used to measure that. I used to count out exactly 16 cashews and put it in a snack bag. Now, I can dose it, look at visually. You know, a small handful of almonds, cashews, or any other nut is great. Anything more than that, you're getting into too high calorie count, high fat count, okay? So that's it. Brown rice is an excellent protein. It's an excellent source of magnesium. Spinach, soy milk if you're not allergic to soy. Black beans, again, potatoes with the skin on, apples, and raw carrots. They're all great sources of magnesium. And they're great snacks. Look at that. I mean, a lot of times, you know, and I've had a few people pop over while I've been at home working. Why? I don't pop into their work, but pop over to drop something off for me or whatever. But I was sitting here one day with a cut-up apple. I had a couple of ounces of cheese cut up next to it, and I had a blob of peanut butter sitting there. All excellent sources of protein, and you get some fruit in there. You get a little bit, and I just want to tell you about sugars because that's the wrap-up of vitamin D, essential fatty acids, L-theanine, and magnesium. With sugars, no matter what sugar it is, and this is the bad news, because you can say, well, it's fruit. It's fructose. Okay, whether it's fructose, sucrose, glucose, your body processes it as sugar. And here's where white carbs come into play, because if you're eating pasta, rice, breads, your body has it doesn't care. It doesn't care that it's like saying honey is better than processed sugar. Yes, it is. Would I recommend having honey in your green tea as opposed to processed sugar? Yes, I would. But I would also recommend keeping the dosage at a minimum also, because that's also about portion control. A cup of honey is definitely better than a cup of processed sugar, but a cup of honey is going to not be good for you in the long run either if you're having that every day. So you have to take your sugars and make sure that you keep them minimum. So am I recommending that you never eat pasta or rice or bread again? No, because you're human and you're probably going to want that at some point. My recommendation for having it is to measure it. Use a portion control kind of attitude. If you're a bigger person, you know, a man, someone over, I'm going to say 170, you can have a full cup of pasta. If you're under that, go with 3/4 of a cup or a half a cup and add protein to it. Okay, so if you're going to have pesto pasta, for instance, don't have a bowl of that without adding chicken, fish, or meat. Okay, because that combo will dose down the amount of sugar that is metabolized as sugar into your bloodstream. It's kind of complex. I don't want to get into that because we're not meal planning here, but I just want to tell you a little bit about the combining of those products, okay? So that's your list of those things. So good carbs, bad carbs. Your good carbs are your green leafies, which also fall under the category of giving you the essential fatty acids. Isn't that wonderful? So this kicks up your serotonin. So next time that you're out, you can ask for kale, some salad, and put some olive oil on there and lemon, and you've got yourself a tasty salad. So you have to get creative in how you put these things together for your health, for weight loss, or weight maintenance. You know, I've been pretty much at the same weight for a lot of years. In fact, I gained 6 pounds almost recently, probably over the last 6 months, and my daughter said, well, you look fine, and I do feel fine. I look fine. But my clothes are a little bit tight, so I want to lose it. So what will I do? I will probably take the same amounts of the same types of food that I always eat and just dose them down a little bit, get them a little more conscious about portion control. Okay, so the bad news that I announced earlier was that low self-esteem, and I hear this a lot, especially amongst women. So sometimes it's hormonal, but often low self-esteem, insomnia, eating disorders, and anxiety often are directly connected to diet. So I'll tell you that when I have a client come in and it's either for weight loss or panic anxiety attacks, or confidence, indicating that they kind of have a self-esteem thing, the first thing I run through is I ask them, what are you eating? Well, what's that got to do with anything? Especially if they feel like they're at a normal weight. What's that got to do with anything? Well, it has everything to do with it. Because if you're comboing up, because if you're just one of those naturally thin people that can eat cheeseburgers and fries and then go out and have Mexican food for dinner, and you're the same weight, but all those things are metabolizing such that they're not kicking off serotonin for you, that natural good feeling, that natural production of serotonin that keeps you in an elevated place where you can think better thoughts and get more done. You can be more productive, because if you notice the theme throughout all these, green tea, the essential fatty acids, the boost of the vitamin B, the vitamin D, all these things are designed to keep you in a calm, relaxed state while boosting energy and serotonin levels, which is the feel-good, the natural feel-good drug of your body. And so you can get a lot of things done and be very productive while feeling calm and relaxed and energetic. And that kind of combo is sort of the synergy that I think everyone is actually looking for, because when people come in and see me for stress reduction, often they have everything together except for their food is not in the right place. Their eating habits are not in the right place. And they can be the right weight, technically. But all these things combo together will give you what you're looking for. So if you're looking to elevate your mood and get your health into a place where when you go for your blood work, I can only tell you that when they run blood work and you're eating like this, you'll get the same response that I get, which is, wait, your blood work looks like that of a 25-year-old. And I say, yeah, you know what? And I do it very purposefully. And it's not to brag. I don't do this to brag. I do this because it feels good. And I've studied so much about it because I was a fat kid and I did drop the weight. And I didn't do it by studying foods like this. This kind of evolved out of it because I thought, well, what if I stopped counting calories? But I started figuring out which foods metabolize better, which ones give me better health along with that. And the interesting thing, the interesting segue that happens when you do that is out of this list, because berries fall in here somewhere. I didn't put them down here, but blueberries and all berries are actually really, really good for your for mental alertness. And in fact, blueberries have been known to, I don't know, make you smarter. That's what the that's the new thing on the studies, because they give you mental mental awareness. Okay, so when you're doing things that lend itself to that, you don't ever have a need for a cheat day. Now, do I eat a brownie or a chocolate cake every once in a while? Yes, but those aren't the things that I actually crave mostly. When I see a really good dessert, I think, oh, that looks like it could be cool. A bite or two. But really, when I put things together and I make desserts, you knock your socks off. They're tasty. They're good. And they're all made with things that are on these lists. And I take nuts, and I'll just, I'll tell you, sometimes in a coffee grinder, I'll just take all those nuts, all the different kinds, grind them together, put a bunch of berries, and yes, I'll use a little bit of heavy cream, because heavy cream, that is raw milk, raw dairy, is good for you. I'll put some heavy cream on that, and then I'll sprinkle or lace it with a little bit of agave, which is also okay, or honey, and then put the sprinkled nuts on there, stir it up, and you know, when I feed this to my friends, they look at me and go, "What is this? This is awesome." And, well, that's your dessert, but it's also good for you. And it'll also kick off serotonin. So I think I've covered pretty much all of my material. Maybe I could cover exercise a little bit more, but I'm going to tell you that I know that a lot of you are living in snow, and so I'm just going to tell you one really funny thing, because my father was always a type A personality. You know, he couldn't even contain his energy. That's how, you know, type A he was. You know, he got angry quick. He did everything. Very funny. I mean, it always made me laugh because he was an awesome individual, but he had a hot temper. He was Italian. And when it snowed, he couldn't take his walk because he always walked 2 miles every day. And what he would do would go down in our basement, and he would put on his sneakers and pretend it was a track. Don't get in my way. Don't be doing laundry while I'm doing my pacing. And he would walk around our basement until he had a pedometer, until he got a mile. Now, if that can be done in the space of a house, of a basement, without, you know, a scenic route to look at or anything else, then you can do this. It's just a matter of how bad do you want to do it. So anybody can take a walk. Anybody can move their body. You can use some small weights and move them up and down while you're walking, or just take the walk. But movement is, you can do it. And you could get a yoga mat and just do some stretches. There are many ways to jumpstart yourself if you're going from absolute zero, I don't move my body, to wanting to get in good health and or lose weight. Okay, so those are the things that come down to, you know, kind of how you feel about business too. Are you willing to do what it takes? Because if you want to be healthy, if you want to feel good, if you want to have a natural mood that is almost, no, not almost, 95% responsive to positivity, then start eating these foods, moving your body, and making sure that you get some sunlight. Now, if you are in that snow area, there's a lot of controversy about tanning salons. In my opinion, if you get the base model, the one that has the equal UVAs and Bs, that's the one that you want to go to for 10 minutes, 2 or 3 times a week. That will give you some minimal vitamin D, and then supplement it with some vitamin D3. Do not go for the high-end bed. You're not looking to get tan. You're looking for vitamin D. That's it. And when I used to go to, and I do it in the winter, because even in sunny Southern California, you still need your vitamin D, and it's not in our sunshine during the months of December, January, and February, not until March. And when I went into a tanning salon, they were trying to sell me on the better bed. And I said, I'm not here to get tan. I'm already naturally kind of, you know, golden I'm Italian. You know, I have olive tone skin. I don't care about that anyway. But I'm here for the vitamin D. And they said, oh, well, then you want this base model. And I said, yeah, I know. I've already researched it. So when you go to do this, make sure you're getting the bottom of the line bed. That's the one with the equal UVA, UVB. And you don't want to go more than 10 minutes. And do it 3 times a week in the winter in a place, if you are in a snowy area where there's no sunshine to be had. And you'll get your vitamin D. Or you can take a boatload of vitamin D supplement and a little bit of vitamin D3 to make sure you have the complete package. Okay? And so that's how I'm wrapping together good health, good attitude, and pursuing your business. Because you have to keep your outcome, whether it's losing weight, maintaining your weight, maintaining vitality and energy throughout the day while still feeling calm and peaceful inside, and getting you where you want to be in business. All those things are hovering right within your atmosphere. You just have to keep your outcome in mind and be willing to do what it takes to have that outcome. Because there is pre-planning involved, and there is some work involved. And that's how it is in business. That's how it is in taking care of your health and your body. And so I'm just going to tell you this one last thing. And my friends laughed when I told them this, because I don't pray over my food or anything, but I do stop and give a moment of silence and thanks to every single person who has touched that piece of food, from the minute it was planted to the minute it gets on my plate. And that kind of struck me to do that when I was traveling in Asia several years ago, and I watched these people work from dawn till dusk on rice paddies, the planting, the whole seasonal concept of it, and then they had the whole celebration. It's usually Tet or some, Chinese New Year's or whatever it is, depending on the Asian country, where they take 4 to 6 weeks off. And what they do during that time is they celebrate the planting season that they just had and what they're about to do again. So they always have this thankfulness for what they're doing in mind. So I thought, well, gosh, as the person who's the end consumer, I should have a little bit of thankfulness for everybody who does. I mean, this person planted the roots of my bowl of rice that I'm eating today. So everybody who has touched it from that inception right until it hits my plate, anything that's on it, I just send out a silent thank you. Thank you for making this for me. And hopefully your life is as good as mine. And I just send that private shout out to those people. And that's my deal. That's how I pray and bless my food. So how you approach anything is how you approach everything, and that's how I approach eating, and I hope you got something out of it. And if you would like a PDF with, it broken out with the vitamin B and all that stuff, just let me know in a private message on Facebook, and I'll shoot it over to you. And I think I'll just wrap it on that, Nettie. I think I've spoken probably a lot longer than I should have.
No. Don't think that you spoke longer than you should have. If we all didn't take something away from what you've just told us, then we have a block up, because that was awesome, Zen. That was awesome. I learned so much. I'm doing a lot of things right, but I'm doing a lot of things wrong. And thank you so much for educating all of us on this. I mean, just by a show in the comments, tell us what you think. I think she hit it out of the park, kicked it to the goal, scored a goal, whatever you want to say. That was fantastic, Zen. I can't thank you enough. I do have a question, though. Like, I try and buy organic vegetables.
Yes.
But when I get them home, I discover that they're just regular donuts. How do I get around that?
They're just regular.
Oh, I'm just kidding. Okay.
Yeah, you can't stop at the donut stand to get organic. But you know what? I do want to say a word on organic, actually, because we do have so much GMO. If you're in the United States, try to buy organic. If organic is too expensive, try going to your farmer's market, because often they don't spray, but you have to be 7 years not sprayed to be considered organic and get certified. If you are buying at the grocery store, get what you can, what's within your budget that's organic. But the fruits that you can do without organic are the thicker skinned products. Bananas, for instance. You can go non-organic bananas if you have to go non-organic there, but I highly recommend organic for all your, because it's just raised better for you. And in this country, with the GMOs not marked on the package, it's just better for you to go the organic route. And I know it's more expensive. At some point, it'll reach its tipping point, and it'll get a little bit better for everybody, I believe, because people will be eating.
I didn't hear you say this, and maybe I missed it. I apologize if I did. But what about chia seeds? Have you?
Yes.
That seems to be the big thing right now.
Yeah. They're not listed under anything, but I classify them in my same essential fatty acids with flaxseed. And in fact, I bought the Decadent bag the other day. It's flaxseed, it's chia seed, and it's mixed with cacao. Okay, so there's got that little bit of deep dark chocolate mixed in there. So that, yeah, you can sprinkle it in yogurt, you can sprinkle it on a salad. It is delicious. And so that's where you have to get creative in your food planning. And when you go out and you walk down the aisles, I don't read every single thing, because I tend to stay closer to whole foods, right from the source. I just prefer it, and it's easier to prepare. But if you're going to pick things off of, the aisles, read what's in the ingredients. If there's more than 6 ingredients there and more than one that you can't read the word out loud and pronounce it properly, you probably don't need it, you know. But in that chia flaxseed mix with the cacao, it's the deep dark chocolate, you know, 75% chocolate. That's a great mix. And it tastes good on a lot of things. So you can incorporate it into a lot of things to make them taste better, you know. So those are the things you get creative with, and you start whipping up your own recipes with them, and the next thing you know, you've got some other good things. Now, one thing I forgot to mention, it's under dairy products, and make sure you get the raw, but kefir. It's very popular in Europe and other countries, but Americans don't tend to lean towards drinking kefir. But if you get just plain kefir, you know, not only do you get enough probiotics in there, which is awesome for you, but you can mix it with smoothies. You can mix it with the flaxseed, the chia seed, and you know, other berries, and it is delicious. And it's a fantastic breakfast or lunch. So, you know, you have to get a little creative with how you mix things up. And if you need to start out, if you are just deciding that, yes, I do need to lose 20, 30 pounds or whatever, and you're used to the sugary foods, go ahead and put some agave on it. Go ahead and put some honey on it, and then start weaning it down. You see, I'm not into deprivation at all, and I don't believe that people who are on diets are into deprivation at all. But if you're getting enough protein, you won't have those super heavy cravings for sugary foods. And it's a mind training also, because your mind starts kicking in saying, yes, I am craving that. Well, you might be. So go ahead and give yourself some honey or agave, and then start dosing down from there. Because you will be able to adjust it if you're kicking up your protein and eating some of the foods off of this list. I guarantee it. If you're not, PM me. I'll tell you how to adjust it, and we'll get you handled. Because I've worked with many people, and I've been testing this on myself for many years. Believe me, it works.
Okay. Well, it's actually 9 o'clock, and I'm sorry, Chris and Erica, but you know, we had to, gang, just for the record out there, we had discussed this before we went on tonight, and we knew there was a high possibility that, you know, Zen had such fantastic information that she was going to take up the show and talk about it, and we were all just fine with that. And I just know that you guys are out there too, because boy, talk about a learning and a education about stuff that to get us moving, to get us motivated, to get us inspired, to get us feeling good about ourselves. Thank you so much, Zen. Thank you, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
On that note, you know, I'm going to have to close it down here, but before we go, I just want to tell you guys, there's a button down below, and it's called Let's Get Started. And if you like what you're seeing here, please hit the button, get started with us today, or get back to the person that invited you to come to this hangout tonight. Talk to them, tell them you'd like to get started. Hit us up on Facebook if you want. We're always available, but please, don't sit back and go, I wish, I think, I should. Do it. Just do it. Hit that button right now and get on this team. We're called Total Inspired Living Tribe. It's an acronym. The acronym is TILT, and if you're not tilting, you're wilting. So I think what Zen proved that with our food tonight. So click the button, get with us, and let's get going to change your life, okay? Thanks, everybody, for coming out, and we will see you again next week. Thank you. Take care. Have a safe week. And eat healthy. Bye-bye.